Hello and welcome to this video. So in this episode, I'm going to walk you through part 3 of how I constructed this riff. So if you haven't seen parts 1 and 2, be sure to go back and check those out, or else none of this is going to make any sense, I think. But today I'm going to be taking the newly refined drum pattern that was tailored to sound more realistic back in part 2, and I'm just going to be going through the process of refining the guitar riff to better suit the drums. So I'm going to be talking about some simple recording techniques to quickly re-record a new version of the riff. So there's not going to be any copying and pasting of old parts or anything like that. Just because if you do that, in my experience, it'll probably not sound quite right since the drums have been changed, right? So this helps you to avoid all that. I'm also going to show you how I take this riff and make it sound completely different by using a different form of articulation. So if you'd like to know how to get started putting a musical idea like this together, stay tuned. And speaking of getting started, if you're having any trouble at all with getting started or even finishing your own songs, I want to point you towards my free songwriting checklist. So it is a short PDF that was designed to help you stay in the moment with the creative process. It's a really quick read, and it's just a list of simple steps that you can take to go from having no idea to starting your next song in the next 10 to 15 minutes. So if you're interested, you can grab that for free at the link in the description below. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so now I'm going to record this part over. So I need to figure out what that's going to be. Let's see what happens. Okay. So something like that. Okay. Click. Practice. Let's try that out. Okay, so seeing as I had a specific idea for how I wanted the drums to be at the end of the beat, it felt right to me to just simply play the exact same riff, but this time I started to use palm muting to achieve a heavier, more staccato attack, right? So even doing something as simple as playing the exact same riff but using a different way to articulate it can create a whole different mood altogether. And by the way, if you are unfamiliar with that term, articulation essentially refers to the attack of a note. If you've been following along, you know that the original riff idea was played with a much smoother attack, otherwise known as legato, right? While this new palm-muted variation has a much sharper attack, which is known as staccato. Using different types of articulation not only can change the attack of the riff, but also dictate how long the duration of each note is in the riff. So in other words, it can dictate how long the duration of each note in the riff is played for. All right, let's get back to it. Chords bothering me, getting caught on things. All right, let's try that again. Getting tripped up. That a little rough. We're getting there. All right, I know I talk about this a lot, but in case you're new to the channel, I just want to point out what I'm doing here real quick. So as you will see, each time I go for a pass of the riff while recording, I start playing a little bit beforehand. And this is really important because this allows me to get into the groove of the music quicker and eventually lead to more natural performances as opposed to just, starting cold at bar one and just like bam. It just allows you some time to get into the feel of everything and hopefully bring your mind into a place where you're focusing on the music as a whole and not your own playing. In my own experience, if I'm ever, playing something and all of a sudden my focus goes to myself and like what I'm doing, I start overthinking things, and then that's where mistakes occur, as you'll probably witness coming up in a little bit. So not only does getting a running start like this help with the playing aspects of recording, but by playing into the riff that you're recording a little bit beforehand, you can make some seamless transitions between sections so there are no annoying gaps in the audio, right? And this becomes invaluable later on during that whole editing stage. Cool. Let's do a couple more of those. I feel like I like the second one better. Weak. Okay, cool. So yeah, there's my riff idea. I use my hands a lot. I don't know what my deal is today, but so chop that down. And let's see. In fact, can't remember if this was any different. No. So, yeah, just get rid of this. Okay. Yeah. And, I mean, I'll leave it at that for today. Just because, it's giving me some rough ideas, but nothing that I really want to spend too much time on right now, just because you'll be watching me going through the whole process, which takes a lot longer than what the normal attention span can take for a video. But this is a good start. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do one thing. So I had one little extra riff idea. So trying to remember how it went. So I think that was it. So yeah. So that wasn't quite it. There it is. So it's a really, really rough idea, but might as well while I'm here. Okay, so already what I've laid down so far has already started to get some other ideas going on. So in my mind, I think because the majority of the riff was played in a way that allowed the notes to ring out longer, I wanted to offset that by writing a riff that was just heavily palm muted. So just super, super staccato. A way that I like adding a little bit of spice to my riffs is to play around with letting certain notes breathe during these long palm muted sections, okay? You'll notice how the open notes just kind of pop out a lot more in this context. I also love experimenting with where to put these open notes during a long palm muted passage. So it's kind of like, it's like the trap door opening up sonically. So it's like dun 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 ah dun 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 dun, dun ah, right? It's the sonic trap door. I love playing around like placing those open trapdoor notes, just seeing where it can lead me. It can make for a really, really interesting riff. So I highly recommend you try that out. Yeah, something like that. Okay, so there's the rough idea. And yeah, I'm not sure what this is gonna be, but this is roughly fresh in my mind. So I just wanted to get this all down. And if you stuck with me for this long, thanks for sticking with me. I hope you got something out of this. I always love seeing stuff like this, and I love doing this. So I hope that these videos are helpful. And if there's anything that you'd like to see me do, just drop me a comment and let me know. At any rate, thanks for watching. I'm going to stop ranting, and I'll see you on the next one. All right, there is part 3. Thanks so much for sticking with me through this series. I really hope you got a lot out of this, and if nothing else, I hope you at least got some inspiration to get started working on your own music. But if this is all a bit overwhelming and you're still trying to figure out how to get started, be sure to grab the free songwriting checklist, okay? If you follow the steps, I promise you're gonna see some results. I reference this anytime that I get stuck on things. If I get trapped in a state of like I'm not doing anything, I just go back to this checklist and just remind myself to take some kind of action. So find it for free at the link in the description below. Thanks again for watching.